She wanted to be a pop star like Madonna. She wanted a big movie career. But she was telling bad jokes in a Latino comedy group when she heard about auditions in the East Village for a little rock opera by nobody famous. It was something called Rent. Welcome to Women in Theater. I'm Linda Weiner, theater critic of Newsday. And our guest is Daphne Rubin-Vega, the original Mimi in what turned out to be Jonathan Larson's Pulitzer Prize-winning smash. And though she claimed that musical theater was not for her, she has turned into one of the busiest, most versatile talents on the stage.
Thank you.
Did you have any idea?
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I meant her. Yeah. Yes.
Did I have any idea?
Any idea when you were working on Rent that it was going to be what it was?
No, not what it turned out to be. I think it was kind of off the charts in its white hot, phenomenal moment capacity. I think a lot of that had to do with the death of Jonathan Larson as well. So it was like having our heads handed to us. But we loved what we were doing. You know, the ensemble, like all of us. It was a moment, which is a rare moment in one's life, where, you know, you're doing it because you do it for free, of course. Yeah. We made the big mistake of saying that. Yeah. It was a special moment that just really brought us together, and it was a musical that we loved, that was unlike anything I had ever seen in musical theater. And I thought, you know, musical theater isn't really my bag, but this is. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Just to backtrack a little bit. So, and Jonathan Larson, of course, the composer, died of an aneurysm.
That's right.
The night right after the last dress rehearsal before you went into previews. It
was, yes. Yeah. It was the first time we had ever done the show without stopping completely, with makeup and costumes. And so it very much felt like we were flying by the seat of our pants, because everything we had broken down. We had never gone through the show completely. And it was the first time we went through that experience, and Jonathan was there. And he had an interview with Anthony Tomasini that night after.
Times classical music critic.
Yes, yeah. I think so, yes. Yeah. And then he went home and put on a pot of tea and collapsed on the floor of a heart aneurysm. A couple of days prior, we had all gone out to eat. He was going to go to this diner with, you know, some friends, and that's when he fell ill originally, like the Sunday prior. He went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Get out of here. You probably have, you know, ate bad turkey or something."
Yeah, nice.
And so, yeah.
Nice. So there you were as Mimi. The first, what I remember at the beginning, you know, you're on a banister up there, right? Mm-hmm. And you have this little tiny vinyl skirt on.
No, it was pants.
Little iridescent vinyl something.
Yeah, blue spandex pants with the iridescent thing was just new in fashion. It was like, wow, this is the fabric of the future, because it glows and it's also stretchy. So.
And from there, it went to Broadway, and there you are on the cover of Newsweek. And Bloomingdale's has a boutique about all the clothing from the Rent Boutique, and people are buying your stretchy iridescent pants. I mean, how weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was really weird because, you know, I mean, it's a joke now, 10 years ago, but, you know, I could hardly pay my rent before Rent. You know, I got a beeper. We had beepers in those days, and I was in that comedy, this Latino comedy show called El Barrio, and I'm checking my beeper, and it's my agent saying, you know, I want you to audition for this thing called Rent. Like, no way. I mean, I would have done anything, and I was doing just about anything, but it was a rock opera. Yeah. So the word opera kind of intimidated me. Rock was kind of okay. Then when I heard it was based on La Boheme, but Mimi was a stripper with AIDS, I was like, okay.
I can do stripper with AIDS.
Well, just to piss my dad off.
Was it hard to leave the show when you left?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. I mean, I left, I was the first to leave, and I left after 18 months because I had an album deal.
Ooh.
So, I mean, getting an album deal was like hitting the broadside of a barn, as I was told later. I had this great album deal with Mercury. I needed to get on that, and doing 8 shows a week was going to make it difficult. But I also got the job Wild Things. Wild Things.
The movie with Kevin Bacon?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was going to go shoot Wild Things and then focus on the CD. I had my life.
Well, you went from bad jokes to, you know, Kevin Bacon movies, right?
Yeah.
It's really great.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. You really did want to be a rock and roll singer.
Yeah, I always wanted to sing and have a band. You know, it wasn't necessarily rock and roll. I mean, I think that...
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up with rock and roll, so that was kind of like the easiest thing. I used to snatch the mic from my brothers and their band, and so yeah, I always kind of fancied myself as some form of rock star.
Well,
I still can't get it out of my head.
Well, you have an album coming out that's out. We are now taping in December of 2006, and you have a new album out
called Redemption Songs. Came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's a compilation of songs that I wrote and some covers. Redemption Songs, the Marley cover, or the Marley song. It's sort of like I consider it an album snapshot of, you know, the experiences, you know, of just kind of my life growing up, becoming a mother.
Yeah, you wrote a lot of it while you were pregnant?
I wrote a lot of it while I was pregnant. I sort of, gestated. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I mean, Rent the Film was coming out, and I wasn't going to do it for a myriad of reasons, not the least of which was the pregnancy.
Yeah. Must have been really hard.
It was hard. It was really transitional.
Because there were so many of the same group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, it didn't do well, but still, it must have been hard.
That was, yeah, the hardest part. I thought, you know, I'm too old to play Mimi. I think that that's a time past, but the fact that everyone else was doing it, I was like, I feel like I haven't been invited to my party, you know, or, you know, something, I don't know, just, you know, the hormones.
Yeah,
it was
instead you had
insane.
Luca?
I have Luca.
How old is he?
He's 2 this week. Last week he turned 2. We had a big birthday party for him. It's just ridiculous how my life has changed and sort of become prioritized because
you married a man with a suit and tie?
I did. I married. You know, they used to make fun of me when I was in Rent because that's when Tommy and I started dating. And I was like, no, because, you know, you're going to date a rocker. And, you know, I was crazy about Adam Pascal. I mean, we were supposed to be together.
Yeah.
And then here comes
in Rent.
Tom. Yeah. But in real life, I mean, I was crazy about him.
Yeah.
And then here comes this suit and tie that just sweeps me off my feet. It's like, I liked that.
Born in Panama?
Yes.
And how old were you when you moved here?
3 years old. I came to this country the first time when I was 2.5, 3. I was in Washington, D.C. with my uncle and aunt. My uncle worked for the Panamanian Embassy. He was an attaché for the Panamanian Embassy. And what was supposed to be 3 months, my mother and father were separating, and, you know, she just wanted to get me out of that environment and stay some months with my uncle and aunt. Turned into 3 years, and went back to Panama briefly, and then came to the United States to live with my mother, who in the interim had moved here.
So, but your mother died when you were young?
My mom passed away when I was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had cancer.
And so your hyphenated name, just let's get the name thing out of the way.
Rubin is my stepfather who adopted us. My mother married Leonard Rubin, writer. He adopted us, and Vega is my natural father's name. So I just thought I'd pay homage to my dad's.
And your brother had a rock and roll band, and you...
Yeah, I had 2 brothers,
Yeah.
2 brothers, older brothers, and I think that it was in like the 7th grade when suddenly I noticed like something changing. Just, you know, I became suddenly a little bit more popular with the girls in my class and school. Everybody wanted to go to my house after school. And then I noticed that they just wanted to go to the basement and watch my brothers in the band. So it was... it was interesting. It was like this dynamic. I thought I was the popular one, but it's the boys. So, you know, they were doing covers of Police and, you know, Stones and Zeppelin. So I found that a good way to take back the power was to grab that mic. And it was interesting. I mean, that's kind of the story that it's become, but yeah, I think I always wanted to, that's how I really wanted to be a rock star. It was a powerful tool. People listened to you.
Yeah. High school performing arts?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then you went to the high school of performing arts.
That's correct.
Yeah. And studied theater?
I wanted to be an artist. It was music and art and performing arts were together.
Okay.
I wanted to be an artist.
Oh.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Yeah, I wanted to be a painter until somebody said that, you know, painters die poor and then they get famous. And I thought...
Sounds like La Boheme.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
When, you know, certainly I think people mostly think about you then as being in musicals.
Yes.
But I've seen you in many, you know, straight plays.
Straight plays.
There has to be another word for that.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to call it something
Straight
besides
plays.
non-musical.
Yeah.
But I've seen you, you know,
Play.
in plays, especially this year. I mean, 2006 has been quite amazing. I was going through. You've been in. First I saw in Bernarda Alba.
Yeah.
Which is a musical, but it's play with music. Michael John LaChiusa, and the album for that just come out. LaChiusa, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, the album just came out, or it came out a little bit ago. I've heard parts of it. It sounds fantastic.
And so, and there you were, of
Not
all
me,
the sisters,
yeah.
you were playing the ugly sister. You had to wear a hump.
Yeah, I had a hump and a bad leg. They called me what did they? Scoly-poly. Because I had like a scoliosis back and polio, like, you know, it was easy to have a bad leg from polio in those days. And so, yeah, yeah, I was the ugly sister. But reading Lorca, like, you know, they're all ugly, but they're all raised to think that they're shit, you know. So, it made sense.
After that, I saw you in Everything's Turning Into Beautiful, new group.
Yeah.
Two-person musical.
Two-person. It was a play with music.
Really a play with music. Really
right.
a play with music.
We were hitless wonders. We were musicians. We were a songwriting duo. I had once had a modicum of success.
Yeah, you had one hit
I
somewhere.
had a one hit,
yeah.
And so we were trying to, like, you know, recapture that. But, you know, we're kind of in love with each other. But fear of intimacy, you know, neuroses.
Okay,
that was a really fun play, though. Maybe it was more fun
it
to
might have been
do
more fun
than
to
watch.
Do. But never mind.
I'm good at that, you know.
But the music was interesting. It just like the dialogue got a little. But you were good. You were really good. But what? And then there you were in Fantine as Fantine in Les Mis, the revival.
Yeah.
Which you've just left now. That's 3 so far. And now you've left that because you're going to be in a play with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I haven't left it yet, but I will. But
you're in Les Mis now still.
I'm still in Les Mis,
I'm sorry.
and I'll be there till February 2007. But then in January, I'm going to do a little double duty at the Public Theater. We're doing a production of Jack Goes Boating, which is an original play by Bob Glaudini. I mean, by original, I mean, it's the first time I think we're all members of the Labyrinth Theater Company. The writer, director, well, I don't know, Peter Dubois is, but Phil, John Ortiz, who played my husband in Anna in the Tropics.
Yes.
Another straight play. And Beth Cole and I. It's a four-hander. And it's about relationships, fear of intimacy once again. You know, people doing drugs to feel closer and then getting freaked out. It's fun. It's going to be a fun piece.
And you've been in that company for a while. This is known as the Philip Seymour Hoffman Company, but that's totally...
It shouldn't be
That's
known
only
as
because
that.
this is America and that's how we identify things, right?
Well, you know, he very deservedly won the Oscar, so he's a star.
Yeah.
And he's also co-artistic director with John Ortiz.
Yeah.
So you know, that's why it's called the Philip Seymour Hoffman Company, but it was initiated by Latinos in 1992, and quickly it became a very diversified acting troupe of actors and people and writers and directors, and it's just a fantastic company with very talented people, and I'm very proud to be in this production because I've never done a production with them.
Yeah, so, you know, you think, well, Les Mis or a little theater at the Public.
I like to mix it up.
Yeah.
Well, Les Mis is like, you know, for me, you know, a money gig that is also a way of, you know, honing my chops in that world, or maybe proving myself somehow.
Yeah, because it's a very different style.
Yeah, I'm very known for, like, you know, rock musical theater, you know, Rocky Horror. Yeah.
And you're usually playing a sort of vixen.
I'm always, you know, sex has something to do with my role in one way or another.
Yeah.
Which is true for Fantine as well.
Yes. Yeah, except she's sort of on the skids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Poor thing. You mentioned Anna in the Tropics. You've done two plays by Nela Cruz.
That's right.
And Anna in the Tropics is the first time that a Latino playwright had won a Pulitzer Prize, which is ridiculous.
I know. And it was also the first time it was an all-Latino cast on Broadway.
Yeah. And you got to, like, roll around with Jimmy Smith.
I sure did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure did. And then I got pregnant immediately after that. I guess he was inspiring.
Yes. He looked wonderful in that white suit. It was an extreme.
He is a fantastic person in and out.
So, you've got these, you were in a pop music group called
Pajama Party.
And it's a girl group.
A girl group. A 3-girl group.
Yeah.
And we sang songs, you know, like king, 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 kidding, king, king, kidding. It was very called Latin freestyle at the time. It was kind of, you know, urban pop music. 3 girls. We wore as little as possible. You know, panty girdles and fishnets, and I remember being very enthusiastic. For me, it was an education. And I also met my husband through one of the girls in the group, who is now my sister-in-law. And we sang the songs written by the producers, and we sort of did what they said. But I was just so happy to be making money in a group and paying the rent that way that, you know, I was like, I want to choreograph, I want to design the costume. So I got really involved, and I thought, to see the people, to see the audience, like, sing back the words to a song that we were singing was so inspiring to me. I was like, I want to do this.
So if I were to wake you up in the middle of the night and say, are you a songwriter? Are you a singer? Are you a musical theater person? Are you an actress of straight plays? Are you, you know?
I'd say yes.
Yes.
Can I go back to sleep?
Yeah, and yes. Are you a good little sleeper? Yes.
Sleep is the most important thing now after my
With
baby.
Your baby, yeah.
I covet it more than anything, more than sex, anything. Food, I'd rather sleep. But anyway, yes, I feel like I am all those things. I don't always call myself a songwriter, but I am a songwriter. And I've got the albums to prove it. You know, this CD was kind of very nourishing and educational because I also produced it. And I got to put my money where my mouth is in terms of, I want to do it my way. You know, so if you actually have permission to do whatever you want, what would you do? And so that's what I did, for better and for worse. I learned a lot of things, but I'm very happy that I did it.
And you work so much that, you know, and usually we don't hear about everybody having jobs all the time. So clearly, there's options for you.
I'm so lucky to work.
And is it
so lucky?
Is it hard for Latino actors, or is it not, or is it irrelevant?
You know, it's as relevant as you make it.
Okay.
I've had this conversation with lots of Latinas who, like, you know, I'm sick and tired of playing the nurse, the hooker, the junkie. And I'm thinking, you know, junkie, hookers, like, if it weren't for those roles, I wouldn't be here. And, you know, I'm not saying that really to be flip. It's really the quality of roles. And it's, you know, we always reach for that which is just a little beyond our grasp. There was one point, I guess, through the insane success of Rent, I realized that those limitations, those things I call limitations, have also served to be my strengths. You know, like no one can be you. And that was very wonderful to discover and own, because I'm really not good at imitating other people or looking like anything other than what I look like. I think that, you know, just there's room for, you know, at first you just have to keep knocking on those doors, I think.
Yeah.
You know, there's no immediate answer, but I don't think that I'd be less successful or more successful if I were, you know, white or black or Asian. And I'd be less successful if I were Asian.
Could you imagine, since you write music, could you imagine writing a musical? Yes, you need a lot of discipline and patience. I always fantasize about writing a musical. I've kind of started like 3 or 4 of them in my head, but you have to focus and you have a few things going on.
I have a few things going on, but also the collaboration about theater. You really have to listen to other people. I mean, unless you're a bona fide genius, and I know that we exist, but you really have to collaborate, and I think you cannot do it alone, and often I don't know how to ask for help, or I, you know, say I'm going to do this, and then I put it on the back burner. But I would love to do a new musical. I would need help, though, just being clear. It's a hard world out there making musicals, and you know, Jonathan was like, it took 7 years, and I thought, oh God, well that's
Jonathan Larson from Rent.
Jonathan Larson from Rent. It took him 7 years to, you know, develop Rent to the point that he did, and I'm sure that if he hadn't died, it would have continued to change. However, yeah, I think 7 years is actually an appropriate number. It's an accurate number. It's a big thing. Have you ever wanted to write a musical?
No. I am totally not a frustrated artist. This is, you know, I like to write about work.
Yeah.
I like to be a witness.
Yeah.
So, no, I've never wanted to do any of it.
I have totally wanted to, but I think it's daunting. It's daunting.
Do you still have your snake?
No.
Oh.
No, but she's in a petting zoo in Riverhead, Long Island, and her name is Desiderata. She's a
boa?
Dumarel boa.
How big?
She must be over 6 feet now. We got her when she was like this big, and
your husband brought her in his cargo, in the pockets of his cargo pants?
Yes. Where did you hear about it? I love that you know that.
I hear more about the animal stories most of all. Yes.
I was doing a film called Skeleton Woman, a little culty film where I play another actual exotic dancer this time with a brain tumor. And in one scene, I know it sounds crazy, in one scene I do lose my mind a little bit and get all these snakes and do this exotic snake dance. And in the scene there were like 30 snakes and there was a snake wrangler who was very wonderful at what he did, and these 2 gorgeous twin Dumarel boas that were in my hair. And one of them I just fell in love with. And I said, Tommy, you have to come meet these snakes. I want to take her. He's like, you're crazy.
Were you married at that point?
No, we were living together, and I was shooting in San Francisco, so he came to visit me. And he was like, look, we'll discuss this later. There is no way. And he went back on the plane with the little snake in his cargo pocket in his pants. I know it sounds crazy, but...
Why'd you get rid of her?
Because I was pregnant and I was just hearing too much from too many people. What about the snake's going to eat the baby? And I thought, I'm not.
That would be, yeah.
But just, you know, to keep it, you know.
All right, all right.
I gave her away. There was nothing, you know, I thought, oh my God, you know, she'll die. I want to find a good home for her. So I found a petting zoo. Thanks to actually Jane Goodall, who was very instrumental in helping me find. Yes.
Oh, wow.
She is a heroine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so in the play, Jack Goes Boating, what do you play?
I play John Ortiz's wife. I forget our names now.
It doesn't matter.
I play John Ortiz's wife, and John and Phil are very close friends. And Phil just has a bit of a self-consciousness around girls, and we're trying to get him to date someone. So we hook him up with this woman that I work with, and so he's trying to. We're like, why don't you make a dinner for her? So John's like, I'll hook you up with like a great chef. We know this chef, he's wonderful, he'll teach you how to cook, you know, to really turn it out. And then he finds out that, like, I slept with the chef once upon a time when, you know, John and I were going through, you know, a hard time. And he cannot believe that, you know, I was unfaithful to my husband and that we're still cool, you know, we're still okay. So it's just how to...
I can't. Our time is running out, and I want to hear more about the play. But
go see it. It's good.
Yes, I suspect I will. You will. I know I will. Anyway, I'm just so happy to have met you and talk to you. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure,
Daphne
Linda.
Rubin-Vega. And thank you for joining us. On behalf of the League of Professional Theater Women, I'm Linda Weiner, and this has been Women in Theater.